Welcome, it's Denome, and welcome to this crypto update. Now, yesterday I gave you guys a very juicy video, basically showing how Bitcoin can go all the way up to $444,000. And that video, I shared another person's analysis and his story. If you did not watch that, you should take a look at it because we're talking about time traveling, we're talking about prophecies and all these esoteric stuff rooted in one guy making 10x by shorting the market at the right time. So that video was very juicy, but I will put that on the side here and now focus again on fundamental analysis, the news and the technical analysis to basically determine where the price will go next. Now, as you know, I am sponsored by Bybit. So if you want to trade these markets, if you want to long, if you want to short, if you want to use trading bots, if you want to do anything with these markets, Bybit is one of the best exchanges to trade, in my opinion. And if you use the code denome, you will get 10% discount for your first 30 days and you are eligible for up to $30,000 in welcome rewards. Now, back to the video here. What are the catalysts to basically bring the price down here? Number one, we have the tariffs, which will go into effect in 2 weeks. So on the 2nd of April, which is right about here. I think there's a good chance that the markets will panic before and right after the tariffs come into play, because the tariffs will mess up the global trade for a little while before companies and investors have had a chance to align themselves, because nobody can really predict exactly what will happen with the tariffs, because they will affect producer companies, it will affect retail companies, it will affect retail consumer behavior. So it has multiple levels of different effects, which are very, very hard to predict. So for these reasons, I do think that it is quite likely that we have another scare to the downside here before we actually resume the market to the upside. So that's number one thing to keep in mind, the tariffs that come into play on 2nd of April. The second big thing that you have to understand right now is what's going on in the Middle East. And unfortunately, what we saw the ceasefire between Palestine and Israel collapse. So what happened is basically Hamas declined the peace offer by default. And while doing that, Israel made massive airstrike throughout the whole Gaza Strip and bombed the living shit out of that area. So as of now, we are getting reports of Palestinians, children being killed and injured. And I'm not going to watch these videos. They are very disturbing. But you can scroll through this post if you like to see the videos and verify the videos for yourself. But it's absolutely horrible to see. At the same time as this is going on, or one day before that, when that happened, USA had an airstrike campaign across Yemen. And Yemen is a very important country because it is basically the country that can determine which ships go from Asia to Europe. So they can control the shipping lines between those two continents. And that is a massively interesting area. And Donald Trump, when he was campaigning, he slammed Joe Biden because Joe Biden did an airstrike on Yemen. He said that this country is going to hell and will end up in World War III. Now he himself is issuing airstrikes on Yemen. So this is a crazy situation. And right now we got a post from Donald Trump. Basically, he's saying that because of what the Houthis are doing in Yemen, the reason is the only reason they are able to do this is because of Iran. So every shot fired by the Houthis will be looked upon from this point forward as being a shot fired from the weapons and leadership of Iran, and Iran will be held responsible. So basically, Donald Trump, after these strikes across Middle East, is now saying that Iran is responsible, and next time if Houthis, which are in Yemen, continue their strikes, then Iran will basically be pulled into a war with United States and Israel. So From my point of view, this is absolutely nuts, and this is not what Donald Trump campaigned on at all. Now, I see a lot of people basically cheering these strikes, but I see a lot of people also saying that what the hell is this? This is not what you should be doing. So I'm seeing basically a big divide with people. But the important thing here, I'm not going to go into the politics of it, but Bitcoin is holding up pretty strong here. So that is a good signal because this is what Bitcoin is supposed to do. And just to scroll back in time, and we go to October 7th of 2023. This is when we saw the, what was it? The October 7th, tell me, Israel, Gaza, the whole thing, the terrorist strike there. And this was basically the bottom of the market. And what Bitcoin did here on the 7th of October is that Bitcoin actually dumped roughly 6%. But that was the bottom. And then we went to the upside massively. So I don't know if it's the same case here, that for the next few weeks we have the scare from the tariffs, we have the scare with the Middle East war, and we simply trade downwards for a while, and that will be the bottom, and we continue to the upside there. And that is basically exactly with the line here as well. So as you know, the saying goes that history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. Well, we definitely have a situation like that going on right here. That would be pretty poetic as well. So that is a scenario that you could that could also happen. But those are just something that are happening in the near term. But on a fundamental level, we have some other news to talk about. So North Korea's Lazarus Group, who was behind the Bybit hack, they have now sold all of their Ethereum, which was a lot of sell pressure, and they have bought a lot of Bitcoin, 13,500 to be exact. And this has created a new whale in the Bitcoin phase. So maybe North Korea now has a Bitcoin strategic reserve of their own from this hack. And it's a little bit surprising that they decided to buy Bitcoin with all of that capital. I don't know exactly why they didn't buy something else where they can money launder it to some other asset, but they decided they want to hold Bitcoin. Very interesting in my opinion. But they have now their own Bitcoin strategic reserve. And then 35 states in the United States are now pushing for a strategic Bitcoin reserve. And that is very beautiful because it's not long ago when I actually shared, it was actually 1 month ago when I shared this video here, when 14 United states wanted to buy Bitcoin. And now we have 35. So this is a massive improvement, and it is very likely that some of these states actually approve this bill because they know that the United States government wants to accrue Bitcoin. They know other countries in the world are looking to buy Bitcoin, and they want to buy Bitcoin first. So now it's basically a race who buys Bitcoin first. So this is massively bullish in the long term. So even though we have these scary situations going on in the world, tariffs, trade wars, and actual wars, fundamentally speaking, Bitcoin is doing exactly what it is supposed to do as of this moment in time. But when we go and take a look at the actual fundamentals here, there's really nothing to report most of the time here. So when I look at the supply of Bitcoin on exchange reserves, we're basically flatlined here on this lows here. The amount of stable coins, it is increasing. Again, it was increasing basically throughout last week. Let's see if it resumes this week. On Monday, unfortunately, we did not really see a lot of stablecoin mints. We saw a little bit, but not massively. But here is something interesting. We're seeing these mega whales who have 10,000 to 100,000 Bitcoin inside their wallets. They have basically been accumulating Bitcoin at this dump here. Also, 1,000 to 10,000 Bitcoin holding wallets have started to accumulate Bitcoin as well. So this is very, very good. And you just have to remember that one of these wallets is that Lazarus Group wallet. So maybe it's not as bullish. But all in all, Bitcoin is going back into the hands of these mega whales. Also, when we go and take a look at what Bitcoin ETFs are doing, we are seeing the first massive buying day in a long period of time. So $275 million went into the Bitcoin ETFs. And as you can see, the last time we saw this amount of buying, we have to basically go back to the start of February. So almost 1.5 months. We've only seen sell pressure from the ETFs. And now we saw a first clear good green day of buying. So ETFs are definitely looking at buying once again here. So again, a good signal. In the short term, when we go and take a look at market order book depth, and we go and take a look at the basically the difference between limit buy orders and limit sell orders, you can see that at these, let me actually change it to 10% first. So we're looking at the difference between limit sell orders and buy orders from 10% from the current price point. So the more green you see, that means the more buy pressure there is from limit buy orders. The more red you see, the more limit sell pressure there is from limit sell orders. And right now we're seeing a little bit of buy orders entering the market, but not a lot within the next 10%. And this is slightly worrying in the short term, because as you can see at this same price level here, we did see more buy orders previously than we are seeing currently. So we're basically seeing diminishing buy order amounts at this low here, which is not nice to see. If I change this to the 3%, then in the immediate short term, we are seeing quite a bit of buy pressure, but not a lot, to be honest. This was only $50 million of buying. So this is not sorry about that. My mouth is drying up. I'm not seeing a lot of buying here. So in the short term, we could see some selling, unfortunately. And as you can see, we did see a lot of people really want to sell this top here also. So all in all, when we take all of these things into consideration, what I'm kind of expecting is that we go and tag this line here. And if that gets tagged, the RSI unfortunately most likely will fall to the downside here. And from there, I hope, and what I kind of expect is that we go and tag the RSI 30 one more time here. Maybe we even go below the trend line here. And from there, we bounce to the upside. This is what I'm currently expecting. And this is what I'm currently hoping for. But in the long term of things, this is not a massive move to the downside. This is only, what is it, 6%, exactly basically the same that we saw with the October 7th attack. And that's when money printers went back online and all these things. So that's very, very nice. Also, you have to understand when we take a look at the global money supply, that has been going upside massively. And usually Bitcoin follows whatever the M2 money supply is with a delay. And this is just going to the upside. And as I've reported in the last week, we are seeing a lot of money printing throughout the planet. So that is also pushing the Bitcoin price to the upside. So even though we're seeing this crazy crazy situation in the Middle East, we're seeing the tariff scare. It feels like Bitcoin is starting to do what it is supposed to do. And fundamentally speaking, Bitcoin is very, very strong. So keep these things in mind. If you want to wait out for the next week or two, that's probably fine. You will be able to get back into Bitcoin basically anything above this trend line here or above this trend line here. So even if you don't buy it at $83,000, you may be able to get it at 78. You're maybe able to get it at $90,000. Those are still fine areas to get in my opinion. Now, if Bitcoin actually goes and does something crazy, like it goes to like $69,000, who knows where it can go. I don't think this trend line actually, this downward trend can go too low, because this was the zone when the Bitcoin ETFs were introduced, and there's so much buying from institutional investors right now, from countries introducing Bitcoin strategic reserve bills. I don't think that Bitcoin has a chance to go too low here. unless obviously we see some massive black swan event, crazy situation. Who knows if that happens or not. But all in all, I'm just saying that Bitcoin looks quite strong here, maybe a little bit down this week. But that's it for this video. And again, just as a reminder, I am affiliated with Bybit. So if you want to trade these markets, you can consider using my affiliate link. It helps me, it helps you. Thanks for watching this video. I will see you on the next one, and bye bye.